Hello, this is Colleen Shoemaker with the League of Women Voters of Portland, and you are watching the Video Voters Guide or listening to our podcast. We are here today to talk with candidates running in the November 5th, 2024 general election. We are grateful for the support of the Carol and Velma Sailing Foundation, the League of Women Voters of Portland Education Fund, the Weiss Foundation, and our media partner, Metro East Community Media. With me is Jacquenette McIntire, running for City of Gresham Councilor Position 3. Welcome, Ms. McIntire.
Thank you, Colleen. Thank you for having me today.
Please tell us a little about yourself and why you're running for this office.
Yes, well, I'm a Gresham resident, longtime resident, 36 years. I raised my 3 children here, and I've got 5 grandchildren now. I'm a former city councilwoman. I served a 4-year term I was elected to in 2003 through 2006. So I understand the job. But then I couldn't run for re-election. My kids were young. My mother was aging. So I concentrated on finishing raising my family. But there's a lot of work that has not changed in the last 20 years. A lot of things that still need attention. So I want to get back to work for the citizens of Gresham and bring forward long-term solutions to some of these issues.
What are the city's most urgent needs, and how would you address them?
Well, great question. Right now, we've seen in the past year public safety issues. And what I mean by that is our fire and police departments being chronically underfunded and understaffed. We did just pass a public safety levy, and that will help, but that's not a permanent solution. It's a 5-year levy. Our other issues are our resiliency. Like all communities across America, we're facing climate change and the effects of the extreme weather conditions. The heat domes, the record snowfall in the city of Gresham, those aren't normal things, but they're becoming more normal. So the city's responsibility is to make sure that Gresham is prepared and its citizens are prepared as well. The Climate Action Plan addresses a lot of these issues, and I champion that work the staff has put forward. It's incredible and comprehensive. So I'm anxious to get to work and implement those parts that are most urgent needs for our community. And the last issue I think is very important, like across all of Oregon, we need more housing. We need to build more affordable housing and multi-generational housing. I myself have grown adults, and one of my grandchildren have moved back home so they can afford the things that they need to do. And so we have a multi-generational home as well. Many families need this kind of a setup. And so we need to work with law enforcement and community groups to bring those ideas forward in a great design and green, encouraging way.
You are listening to the Video Voters Guide interview and podcast of Jacquenette McIntire, who is running for City of Gresham Councilor Position 3. Ms. McIntire, what skills, experience, and interests make you the best candidate for this position?
Well, Colleen, it sounds cliche to say, but it is my lived experience. I come from a family of 7 kids. We grew up poor. I've worked hard all my life, and I worked in title and escrow as an escrow officer, and now I work in aerospace manufacturing in regulatory and export compliance. So I bring a whole host of experience, not just from my professional life, from my family life, but also the volunteer work and the community service I've done through Gresham, for Gresham throughout my life here. Over the last 30 years, I've served on many committees and many volunteer opportunities for this community. So I know Gresham, and I know this position really well.
What are the infrastructure needs of the city, and how would you finance the most critical ones?
Great question, Colleen. As we talked earlier, the Gresham fire stations are old. They've been dealing with mold and exhaust issues. They've mitigated some of the factors, but our city has grown. And so the location of those Gresham fire stations, that's a concern. We do need to plan ahead to replace those stations and rebuild and relocate them as well. I think our water resources going to groundwater for the city of Gresham, it was a critical change, and that's wonderful. But we do need to start building with permeable surfaces so we can capture that rainwater and replenish our aquifers that we're now be drawing from. And then our parks, we have a lot of parks that are not accessible at this time because we don't have the funding to open them, maintain them, and keep them safe for the citizens. So Gresham and Metro are working to access those parklands for all of Gresham citizens to enjoy. And how that funding, how those things will be funded, that's always a challenge in the city of Gresham. We'll find a way because it matters.
How is the performance of a city councilor best assessed?
I think you can look at their voting record, watch their meetings, and determine what their opinions are and the reasons for voting yes or no on a given issue. Also, how involved they are out in the community and how many community groups that they have contacts with that they ask and invite into city council work and into city council meetings to participate. It's really important that we listen to our community. So drawing in is another way, drawing in other leaders in the city, in other community groups, is another way for councilors to be assessed from the outside by our citizens, their participation levels.
Thank you very, very much, Ms. McIntire. This concludes our video voters guide and podcast interview of the League of Women Voters of Portland, of Jacquenette McIntire, running for City of Gresham Councilor Position 3. Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. To find additional election resources, please visit the League of Women Voters of Portland's website, lwvpdx.org, and then exercise your right to vote. Your voice matters. Thank you for your interest.